see their content and you're like, oh gosh, I just know that we would be good friends or hit it off. And then Dave, her partner, is a freaking art teacher. First off, what the hell? Hello and welcome to Relish Crafts, where we relish in our crafts. Today's DIY project, we will be making some small alterations, and well, some will be small, some will be a little bit bigger than others. I had the very beautiful experience of receiving my very first package in the mail from a fellow YouTube creator, a couple in fact. The channel is called Heather Trimble, but it's her and her partner Dave that do all of their fashion content. I absolutely adore them. I love them to pieces. And they are working on their fashion house. And as Heather goes through her collection that is just so beautifully curated, she came across these 3 beautiful kaftans, and she thought that I would probably like them, and she was so very right. I loved them, and she gave me free reign to do whatever I pleased with them. And so I quite like them, actually, the way that they are, but I am going to make some slight alterations. Now this one here is perfection. This one is perfect. This is a perfect kaftan, right? You see this waistline here, okay? That on the inside has, I absolutely love it when the kaftans have the ties, okay? Now there's enough to tie it around, right? It cinches to the front of your torso. Now this one has ripped off because it's just, you know, it's probably vintage. That's probably lost a lot of its strength, this ribbon. So I'm just going to replace either both of them or just add some length to this one so that I can just tie it behind me easily, okay? That's the only thing I'm gonna do with that one. I absolutely love it. Thank you. Now, this one here, I love it. The thing that I love about it, aside from the fact that it's like black, white, striped with a gold, I love it. I love the gaudiness. And there's embroidered work here on the sleeve. I kind of like that it's like a t-shirt fit, okay? Now, it's very narrow. I don't know if once upon a time somebody closed up what might have been an opening. Doesn't look like it. It kind of tapers in a little bit. Girl, it's giving champagne flute, okay? It's very narrow. So what I'm going to do, I love this fit, the t-shirt looking aspect of it, okay? That is perfect, but I think it's gonna be so cool if I open up the dress pretty high up, right? So that when I'm wearing it with pants, you can see my pants underneath. Maybe some denim jeans. So many ideas. Or a skirt, you know, like if I wear a skirt, I want it, you see it underneath, you know? So anyhow, I'm gonna go a little radical with it in that I'm gonna open her up, okay? Because I could go up to here and just be fine, but I think if I go up here and make it more like a t-shirt top, that I'm gonna open myself up to more styling options, okay? Now this one here has a lot of, I don't know, like embroidery. It's like one large patchwork piece, okay? Freaking awesome. Now, look at these sleeves. How gorgeous. How gorgeous. Now, this is very skinny, but I like this part, okay? Let me see if I can show you. I like to look at shapes, okay? Because I don't know what I'm doing here. But you see how this one here is perfect, right? It's like a rectangle, a square shape, if you will, and it's rectangular and it creates a winged effect. Well, this already has kind of like a wider sleeve opening here, okay? I'm thinking about cutting this off here so that I have more of a kaftan wing here, okay, on both sides. And I also have a little bit of fabric here should I want to add it to it. But I think maybe cutting just here will give me more of that flowy kaftan look. And then I'll be able to repurpose this part here, this very elaborate embroidery here that is very beautiful, okay? I kind of like the idea of doing that and possibly making a matching headpiece or something, because this, I can't really show you too well. This embroidered part, hold on. This patch, right, has that point and then it has a second point, right? So it's like 3 points to this patch and I have 2 of them. So if I made, you know, like a headpiece that wrapped around my head using whatever very little fabric I have left on these sleeves to make it match. That would be kind of cool to make it match here, like a girl, I don't know. I'm figuring it out, okay? Today's DIY has been kindly made possible by Heather and Dave. Thank you so very much. I can't tell you guys how much I love them. But as I go on through this video, I'll share a little bit more about them. As you can see, I will be opening up this dress all the way up. I'm going to readjust the sleeves or refinish the sleeves and maybe make a headpiece with this. Girl, I can make anything really. And I need to fix that little strap on this one so that I can properly tie it around my torso, because this one's perfection, girl. It's perfect. I freaking love this. I love this rectangular shape of kaftan, and when you can cinch it down below your bust like this, girl, the flowiness is fabulous, okay? I'm going to go ahead and do that for today's DIY video. It is kaftan alterations. This is the first one that I am going to work on, and I put it on and with safety pins marked on either side about where I want to stop the seam ripping, and then I will re-stitch it. And honestly, I can't tell. I tried looking at it like maybe somebody sewed the opening shut, because I don't know if it's because I'm tall that when I take a step it like stops me abruptly, you know, so my gait is wider than this allows for. Okay, it's a very small opening, you know, and you could kick your own leg from underneath you if you walk or jump or whatever. So I have my seam rippers, and I'm just going to go ahead and remove the stitching. I think it'll just be a funner look to have it just that drastically open on the sides and wear it more like a top with either a skirt, different pants, definitely jeans. So maybe somebody did make it just more narrow, because it is bigger up top than it makes sense on the bottom. Maybe, I don't know, girl. I absolutely love people that seem very genuine. I don't know how to describe it. Like, you know, there's just some people, maybe you feel that way about me, where you just kind of see their content and you're like, oh gosh, I just know that we would be good friends or hit it off. And I don't know that I felt that way about YouTubers, because they just, I don't know, it seems very curated. But Heather and Dave just seem very genuine, you know. I just can relate so much to them. That's just the truth. I don't know if we would hit it off, but I definitely, you know, hope that we would if I ever got to meet them. Now, I'm not sure. Let me check. Their YouTube channel says that they joined April of 2023, but their videos go back 2 years. And I remember this account, Relish Crafts, is where I create my content, but I have a personal account where I've been on YouTube for many years, where I was just subscribed to YouTube and would watch creators. From that account is where I was watching all of their videos. And I was a bit of a silent watcher until, you know, like I would like their videos. I subscribed immediately. I just loved them, you know, I loved them. All they do is write permission slips every video. They just write permission slips. In one of the videos, Heather was showing us this really cool kimono that she had made, and I was just like, wow, that's so freaking cool, because they were learning from YouTube, you know, from different creators, and they always shout out creators. They're constantly like saying, hey, so-and-so taught me this. I love that. I'm gonna give it a try. And nobody else convinced me through their content, through their ability to write permission slips. Nobody influenced me like Heather and Dave to start my own channel. And Heather and Dave don't make tutorials. They just say, hey, I learned this and I made it. And I said, I love that take on it. Like, I want to do that. And when I first started, people were expecting me to do tutorials. And I would say all the time, like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. This isn't a tutorial, but I am showing you my process, like to inspire you. Like, hey, this person who just learned by watching videos and is just trying to do things can actually execute a product. Maybe you should give it a try, you know, because there's so many teachers out there on YouTube that know what they're doing. They know what they're doing and they're so good at it. And they've taken the time to make hundreds of videos to show you how to do things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just here to show you like, hey, it's possible. Or go and learn on YouTube and give your ideas life. You know, like I always explain, like, this was just an idea, you know, and decided to go with it. And with techniques that I learned through YouTube, this is how it came to be, you know, and I try to share my process, but they don't do tutorials, okay? Sometimes I think Dave will walk us through some of his thought process as well, like when he's painting things. First off, what the hell? Heather is an incredible artist, stylist, designer. She's fantastic. Oh, and then Dave, her partner, is a freaking art teacher. I mean, okay, so she's like, hey, I want a rabbit here. I think that would look really cool. You know, I want it to be placed here on this skirt. Dave will freaking paint it, okay? And I'm talking like he's really good. And I'm like, oh my God, what a dynamic duo for this craft that is fashion, that is upcycling, that is refashioning. Like, they are so freaking cool, man. So freaking cool. I obviously really like them. And so I was a silent watcher up until Heather, no, she gave away her kimono, and she's like, hey, maybe you know, go ahead and write something that you liked from this video to be considered to win. And girl, I wrote them this heartfelt letter like, oh, I love you guys. My favorite part of this video is you two. And they really did teach me how to take a compliment. Honestly, I often say in this video that I grew up in a very toxic household. I had a very traumatic childhood, and compliments are not something I grew up hearing, you know? And even when people tell you something, it just feels foreign. It doesn't feel true, because it is so foreign to me, you know? And so when I started making content and running with it, like, I'm gonna do that too. I wanna inspire other people. I wanna show them that someone who doesn't know what they're doing can go on YouTube and learn some techniques and come out with some really cool creative designs, you know? I think that having really unique items is for everybody, that you can thrift your materials and create your own really awesome, beautiful thing. Heather and Dave constantly compliment each other. I love that, Heather. I love your outfit, Dave. Like, they are always shining light on each other. You know, sunflowers, when the sun goes away, they face each other so that the brightness of their color can give each other more light, more brightness. That's how I see them. They are sunflowers to me. They're constantly just shining light on each other. And there's nothing more to say to that compliment other than thank you. By watching their videos, I just learned how to take a compliment. Just say thank you. Like, it's very simple. It doesn't have to feel foreign, and it doesn't have to feel like a lie. It's very much true. And the way you respond to that is thank you. I'm very thankful to them for teaching me that. Honestly, I was a silent watcher. Like, you never know who you're affecting, whose heart you're touching. Even me, you know, I'm always in awe of the messages that I get from all of you style sisters. You really do breathe life into me. I'm so grateful and thankful to all of you for that. So one day they commented on my channel. You know, I'm like shocked, because I have been watching them since their very first video, okay? I would just put them on the background. I loved hearing them. I love their ability to see beauty in everything. My goodness, I don't have to force myself, okay? I just do. I see the beauty in everything, okay? And they also teach me that. It's like, wow. And you already know my perspective. Like when I introduced you to a different part of my home and I was redoing my landing, I just kind of showed you a little tiny piece of my backstory about how I just don't like to see things discarded and how I believe everything is energy. I relate to them because they're not wording it the way that I do, but I see that they see the beauty and value in all things, okay? That there's purpose in everything. Nothing truly has to be discarded necessarily, and I could be very wrong, but that's just how I perceive them. And they seem very genuine and eccentric. I adore that. I feel I am pretty eccentric myself. They are fabulous human beings, you know, and I love that about them. Oh my gosh, you guys. And they go around traveling constantly. And when they're on their travels together are thrifting. Like, my wife does not like thrift stores, you know. It's not her jam. It's not something she enjoys. She'll drive me to them and she doesn't mind waiting for me outside. But Heather and Dave are just so cute together. They're completely fabulous. sometimes, you know, she'll wear Dave's clothes, or Dave will try on some of her stuff. Like, and that's another thing. Dave is fearless with his fashion as well. And he's an incredible artist and designer as well, that they are able to incorporate these things into their clothing. They're just so fearless with it. You know, like they'll just start cutting things up and putting them together. Like they are fully inspired and they act on it. I just think it's fabulous. I really like this striped. I don't know why. It's just, it gives me very Egyptian vibes. I don't know if it's because like costumes often use like that black and white and gold theme when it comes to Egyptian costumes, but I think it's fabulous. I'm very, very happy. Gosh, I can't even finish my train of thought. I'm just gushing. Listen, they showed up in my comments, girl, okay? I already told you my wife, she reads the comments too. She tries to protect me, and if there's negativity in there, which there is, she'll go in there and delete the comment, you know, so I don't see it. She's very kind. And she's like, oh my God. And I was like, what? She's like, you're not gonna believe this. And I was like, what? She's like, check your comments. And I look and it's freaking Heather Trimble. Okay, so it's like the channel name is Heather Trimble, right? But their handle is Heather and Dave. I know that it says Heather Trimble, but to me, when I see that, I know it's Heather and Dave, you know, and I'm like, no way. And she had seen that I made like a necklace out of textiles, and you know, I've only made a couple, but she was asking me about that. I was like, oh my gosh, like something I made, they watched, they saw it and they liked it. And then they took the time to comment. Like, I just can't. I can't tell you guys enough. I can't even tell you how that feels, you know, honestly, because I don't know, they've given me so much just by being them and posting videos. It's crazy how that can actually happen. Oh my gosh, you know? So I don't know if you guys follow Heather and Dave, but you guys should follow them. They are incredible, fearless fashionistas, and they're constantly uploading, constantly. They're so good at it. Okay, that's one side done. Now I'm gonna do the other side. All right, I am done seam ripping. This is everything I took out. Now everything's opened on both sides. Already looks exactly like what I was hoping for. And I'm going to just iron the new seam I'm trying to create, right? The new border, like the fabric's gonna fray if I just leave it raw. So I'm just going to tuck it into itself, iron it so that my sewing process is seamless. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of thread everywhere. This is so cool. Yep. Some of my viewers are short in height, which I cannot relate because I'm 5'8". You know, I often get asked on help about layering clothing, but that's kind of hard for me because I can't relate, you know. Most times clothing isn't long enough for me, and I'm not sure how tall she is. Heather, I think, is probably short because she is able to wear some really tall shoes and she doesn't look, you know, like it's too tall for her. And she has a gift for being able to layer clothing. She really is talented at it, and she favors the punk aesthetic. I know that one of her favorite designers is Vivienne Westwood, and her ability, okay, Heather's ability to style a formal dress, okay, and I'm talking vintage ones that have like a lot of tulle, is truly a gift. And I just love them because they're fearless. They don't shy away from global fashions, okay? They gravitate towards all things exotic and global, which is exactly what I like to do. I love that. I can't label their fashion because their fashion is everything. Like, they love everything. Like I said, they have the ability to see the beauty in everything. And they also, like me, have fun with sizing. Like, they don't mind if something's too big. Like, they are able to style it up. And Heather right now is getting into sewing. She's got her sewing machine and she's trying to make small alterations to a lot of her things. I think because also she's shorter, so she's able to hem her garments up. It doesn't stop them from enjoying a garment if it is of a different size than to what their, you know, their size is. And I love that. That's what I'm constantly to inspire you guys. Like, girl, just put it on. Just put it on. If you like it, if you love it, girl, put it on. You just might be okay with the fit. And I've noticed, you know, since I've been picking up clothing in different sizes, girl, they're not all made the same, okay? You might be surprised. You might like the fit. And also, just like me, they like sharing when they do something to their home, right? Because Dave is a freaking builder. My God, he's so talented. I'm sure he could build anything, you know, and I like to be hands-on. I like to teach myself things. I like to build things as well within reason. Girl, I didn't build a house, but with Dave's help, I probably could. I love that. I love that they show you like, hey, we thrifted this and we're going to use it in our home and this is how it looks. Like, that makes sense to me. YouTube and the algorithm is constantly trying to get you to fit, right? Like if you make a vlog video, that's it. You're a vlog channel. And if you make a different type of video, then it gets all mixed up and it doesn't know who to recommend you to. Or maybe like in my experience, like if people watch a thrifting video and they like it, and if I make a DIY video, they'll unfollow me because they only want thrifting videos. And I can't relate. I enjoy content where people share all different aspects of themselves. You know, I'm a multi-passionate type of human being, you know. I'm a wife, and just like Heather and Dave, Heather describes her home as rustic. Girl, my house is rustic AF, okay? It's so rustic. And I love that. I can relate to it. And I have to fix things up constantly. And it's fun to show like how you decorate your home or what thing you found thrifting that you find beautiful. So I hope that, like Heather and Dave, I can find a community of people who like all the different things that I like. I know YouTube hates that. Oh my gosh, it's so annoying. Or if I make a DIY video, I lose people who only want styling videos. So it's a balance I'm trying to figure out. But I like that, right? That I can relate to them. Okay, guys, listen to this, or let me show you. Let me get up close. So it was after seam ripping. I don't know if you could tell, it's a raw hem, right? So I've pressed it, right? The raw hem, I pressed it down once. I rolled it over again and pressed it again so that when I go to sew it, it's going to be easy and clean. I'm going to go ahead and prepare the other side, but that's what I'm doing. It's just best that you take the extra steps, okay? Break it down in your mind. Take the extra steps. It helps to execute what you're trying to accomplish that much easier, okay? The art of upcycling is not always faster, but we want things to come out correctly and we want things to be easier. Like I've shared with you a quote before by this famous French chef, is that perfection is a lot of little things done well or correctly. That's it. So do every little step to the best of your ability and you are going to execute something very well done. Okay, now that my prep work is done, I've prepped my sewing machine with the correct needle, black thread, and now I'm going to do a straight stitch securing this new edge. Now that I am done sewing the new edges, I'm going to go ahead and press those seams because that's what you're supposed to do to have a good result. A good alteration is you always press your seams. Okay, that is my first alteration done. As you could see, the new openings on it. This is fabulous. Fabulous. The next dress is going to be this one, right? The ties. See how this one's snapped? Pretty sure it's because it's like vintage, a vintage piece of trim or lace trim, but I just used the longest one as a measurement. And I took some cotton fabric and just matched the longest one, okay? Just some cotton fabric. I cut it lengthwise and ironed it, pressed it into itself to create a ribbon, just like this one. Now, I could use a sewing machine, but then, I don't know, this fabric's pretty thin. So I'm just gonna hand sew it on. It's just a little piece of fabric. So I've done all the prep work and now I'm just gonna cut. Girl, I could probably tear it off, but I don't wanna do that. cut those off, and I could see where it was before. So I'll just use that as a guide as to where to put my new ties. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and hand stitch them on. And that way it's more of an invisible stitch, girl. Ugh. I'm gonna sew these shut. I forgot, I have to machine sew these so they don't come undone, right? So I'm just gonna do a straight stitch all the way down, just straight, really quickly, and then sew them on the dress. Oh my goodness. I'm getting ahead of myself. My machine is here, so I could just do that real quick. Well, these straps are going to be hidden inside. They won't be visible. Really doesn't matter what color I use, but that is them. They are sewn shut now. And now I can go ahead and sew them in place. And this should not take long at all. It's like very small piece of fabric to have to stitch on. Okay, that is one of my ties on. And now I'm just going to do the second one, and then this piece will be done. I am done with making this very minor alteration, very simple. And now this has new longevity and it will last a long time. This is very secure. So now moving on to my third project, and I saved that one for last because that one might take me a while because I'm like, can I refashion new sleeves? I don't know. I have the last one on, okay? And I like this part of the sleeve here, and I'm just deciding of to where am I going to keep it. It's such a fabulous everything. Like this work here, the color, all of like the ruching. I mean, this is totally vintage. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to maybe, you know what? Maybe right above my elbow would be a good area for it to cut off. So I'm just going to, with a safety pin, kind of mark where my elbow bends. That way I know to leave seam allowance below that. Girl, it's not a science. I'm guesstimating and winging it here. Like Dave says, don't be afraid, guys. Don't be scared. Get in, okay? Here I go with the next one, okay? Right, here we go. There we go. All right, I have those generally marked out. And then now I'm just gonna commit, make the cuts, create the new seam, and then try it on. Yeah, and then try it on. I think I'm gonna go straight, right? Because if I cut straight versus if I cut this way, then, yeah, no, straight cuts. That's what I'll do next, straight. Now, before I cut, because it's such a ruched area here, I'm gonna pin all of this fabric to try to achieve a more even cut, right? So I'm just going to pin across because this is going to move, it's going to shift. Now, I remember that I pinned it at my elbow and I want to leave just a little bit of space for a seam allowance for me to roll the edge. This is just a suggested guide. Okay, I think that might work for me right there. Now I'm going to use this thing to cut. Et voila. Freedom. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I can't describe to you how thick this is. Like, it's fabulous. Okay, now the next one. All right, now they are both cut. I'm removing all of the pins. And when I line up both of these sleeve pieces, they match up well, right? Like I made the same cut essentially. Okay, so now if I fold it in half, hopefully it lines up. All right, so I got the armpit, the shoulders somewhat lined up here, the seams, and that looks good. Okay, now I'm going to create the new seam, right? Because these are raw edges, I'm going to do the same you already saw me do. Fold it in once, iron it, fold it in again, iron it, and then sew it around, okay? And then I will figure out whether or not, and I probably am. I think a really cool head wrap. Man, this is so cool. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Do you see what I mean? It looks like a crown. That's kind of what I'm thinking about, like this triangle little headpiece that just matches this dress and tie it down. If it were up to me, girl, I'd make it a crown. This is giving crown all day, the queendom of it all. But anyways, I think that this is more everyday wearable, very summery, very matchy. Gosh, it's so pretty. First, I need to sew the sleeves, okay? Like I said, I'm gonna iron them and then stitch them to make the new seam. So let me do that next. So I am finished prepping the area. As you can see, I've created the new seam for the sleeves, and now I'm just going to stitch around the circumference with a simple straight stitch, and that should finish the sleeves up. All right, my sleeves are done, the new sleeves, and this looks a lot more like what I'm used to. The long sleeve ones were really good, but this I'll get more wear out of during, you know, warmer weather because it's such a vibrant dress. I think it's more suited for like warmer weather, and I'm happy that I made that small alteration. It was a little intimidating, but girl, you just got to get stuck in. You just got to do it, get it done. Okay, so now this is it. That was the third alteration, but now I have the sleeves that I just cannot leave without. I mean, I cannot express to you how gorgeous this patchwork is. I mean, I don't know what it is. It's all metallic, it's super thick, it's got some weight to it. I'm not gonna leave these out. And it's such a specific design, right? And it's going with this entire ensemble. So I have to decide. I think I decided to cut away the fabric. That way it's like a piece of like jewelry, you know, like a headpiece that I can wear with anything else that I want to, you know, so it's more like a jewelry piece versus a specific bandana for this dress. Like this is a very specific fabric, right? And pattern and colors. I think I might get more wear out of it if I make it more of just, girl, I don't know. And I have a big head. I've already said that. I don't know. Girl, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna use the patch, okay? That's what I'm committing to. And then I'll use the rest of the fabric to create the ties that will tie around my head. And that's just this piece, okay? That's how big this thing is, that it covers the top of my head, that I have this second piece here, okay? I also have this one. I don't have to use everything, okay? I can save this for a different project, but I could use it. Now I'm gonna create the headband. Okay, this is the remnants that's left, you know, from this little cuffs, the sleeves that I cut off, and I was able to piece a few of those salvaged pieces together because it came out to a very awkward piece of fabric. I got these two long pieces and these two small pieces. Now this is a very wide, very stiff patch, okay? So it's gonna stick up, which is fine, or stick out. And I think I'm just going to use these large ones for here for the important part of pinning down this headpiece here. And then these small ones, because there's just so much there, I could pin maybe about here to help control a little bit more of it. What I'm thinking is maybe merging these down here, right? So down here on this main ribbon to help kind of control the headpiece. So that could work. I'm just gonna go for it because I need a little bit more width and I just didn't have enough fabric, but I think this could work. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get that sewn on. I completed constructing it, right? So it's all sewn on, and I had a change of heart. Like, I was thinking I could wear this on my head, right? I can, but it's very stiff, so it's not laying down the way that I would like it to, right? But that doesn't even matter because I got a whole nother idea and I tried it on before even trying to commit to it, and that's what I'm going with. I'll show it to you guys after I'm done sewing it on in the reveal, but I think it's a more fabulous use of this piece, and I'm glad that I constructed it in this way. Like, it just looks like it was meant to be that way, and I just love it when that happens. Girl, and I still have this whole other one. These were just sleeve cuffs. Like, then you take them out and it's like, whoa, they're so cool and big. Anyways, I am going to sew this on to where I intend to sew it on. And yeah, I'm just gonna style it up and you could see it there. And I'll explain it afterwards because I just think it was the right thing to do. But that was the last alteration that I was making for this piece. And so now I'm just gonna sew it up and style up all of these beautiful dresses. I'm so happy that I was able to kick out a DIY video for you guys, but I am back home, I am settled in, and I have so many ideas that I want to share with you guys. I want to make more DIY videos and more styling videos, of course, and more vlogs, and I hope you'll stick around for the ride. Now, I just wanted to say real quick that I'm just so grateful for all of you. If you are new or have been here since the beginning, I can't tell you how happy it makes me to see my little channel growing. And I'm just so thankful for each and every one of you who go onto my website, who support me. It just makes my heart feel a lot of joy. So I thank you. Really, I do. I am also very thankful for this beautiful gift that Heather and Dave gave me. I hope you agree that they're pretty awesome dresses, okay? I love them as they were, really. But I think opening this one up the way that I did, on both sides so high up, really, when I put a skirt underneath it, it was awesome. When I put pants underneath it, it was awesome. So I loved that alteration. And this one's perfection. I mean, it's just a perfect kaftan, okay? So just fixing the straps that tie to your torso on the inside was more than enough, okay? This is gonna last me a very long time, and I hope you agree, it's quite fabulous. I love the colors, and there was all of these pieces, okay, all three of them, I had to stop myself because it's just endless, the way that you could just dress them up when you have your boho staples, your go-to stuff. It all pairs well with each other, I think, okay? It's just about acquiring the colors, I guess. Now, this one, like I said, I thought I was gonna make a little head wrap, but then I was like in my studio, I was playing around, I held it up to my torso, and it looked like a corseted belt. I sewed it on, okay? So it has that V detail that I made, and it's sewn onto the dress and it ties in the back. So I thought that was pretty cool. So that was the one sleeve cuff, okay? And then with the second sleeve cuff, I cut out the embellishments on the patch, right? And I made 2 earrings with that cuff. So all I did was cut the shapes that I wanted out. I added some interfacing. I added the matching fabric to the back of it. You know, I trimmed it down a little bit. Like you could see, this is a little bit rounded. I just cut the little peak of this design because I tried it on when it was like fully large and it was a little bit too big for me. So sadly, I just trimmed it down a little bit, but they're very big and extravagant, and I love that. I got to create this corset. I matched it up with the point of this other embellishment, and your bust kind of comes through here, but I don't think it calls that much attention. It just looks good there, okay? You know, and I really like how the sleeves came out. I think that they're more like summery and they're just more warm weather friendly. And I was able to use the parts of those sleeves to make earrings and a corset. You know, like I just think that's really cool, really awesome. And I'm happy that I did it because it made for some really fun looks. And I hope you agree. Now, I hope there was some inspiration in here, okay? That maybe you don't like the sleeves on something. Girl, cut them off. Cut them off and hem them. It's not that difficult. You don't need a sewing machine to just kind of roll it by hand and create that stitching, okay? And this one here that has the ties on the inside, if anything is a little bit too flowy for you, or maybe you like that, right? I like that. But on occasion, you want something a little bit more fitted, put 2 ribbons inside and tie them. You saw it originally had lace ribbon, okay? You can use that or make your own out of fabric, scrap fabric. No one's gonna see it, you know, it's a very small piece of fabric that you put in there to cinch your waist, and it's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Now, if there's a dress that you like, but maybe it's too narrow or you just wanna get hip with it, okay? You can open it up on the sides and you don't need a sewing machine. You know, it helps to have an iron to press the hem just like you saw me do, and you can sew it up by hand. I mean, really, these are really simple alterations that you could do to anything, you know, that you thrift to get it to fit better, to get it to go with, you know, whatever it is that you're aiming for. I think, and I hope there was a little bit of inspiration here, okay? And I hope that you guys do go to check out Heather and Dave's channel. Please let them know Frankie sent you, please. They don't know I'm doing this. I just thought I'd make it because when I give something, I don't expect anything in return. And they gave me this and they don't expect anything in return for that because they're just such amazing freaking people, you know. But if you do go over to their channel and you see what they are about, you will see that they are God's favorite. Because it is insane what they find, okay? Their finds are insane. I wish I could see their collection and try stuff on, because it's like, I don't even know if it's like a lifetime of work, you know, but it's impressive, the stuff that they find. I wish I could find items like that. So thank you, Heather and Dave. I loved this gift. Thank you for thinking of me. They are absolutely fabulous. I hope you like what I've done with them. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you to my channel members. You guys give me so much more than I can put into words. Thank you so much for just joining and participating in my journey. Whether you're here for the whole journey or just a part of it, thank you for being a part of my channel, for being a member. You are so very important. Thank you so much. The next video that I have for you guys should be a style up, but I'm very anxious to get another DIY done. So either way, they're both coming your way. Thank you for watching. I love you for that. And until my next video, I'll see you next time. Bye.